Hey, fight fans, welcome back to Carlo Prusa MMA, and I got a guest that I've had here a few times now. He is the Punisher. He is Mr. Torrez Finney, coming off his victorious UFC debut, took down Mr. Rob Valentin. Torrez, man, a few weeks now, 3-4 weeks after the dust settled, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing really good, man. Thank you for having me on here once again, Carlo. I love being on here. I love doing the interview with you. Always, anytime. Looks like we've been doing these interviews for your first one. I do remember. It was Icon number 2? Number 4. No, Icon number 4. Icon 4. And yeah, we was in Savannah, and I've been doing interviews with you ever since. So that was when I had turned 4-0. Funny enough. So yeah, we've been grinding ever since. And yeah, let's keep it going.
Absolutely, man. It's kind of crazy to see where the times have gone. Obviously, you started not even that long ago, only like 3 years as a pro now, making it all the way to the UFC, coming in this one, UFC debut. They didn't do you any favors. They gave you a tough guy. I mean, they gave you a guy who was a finalist on The Ultimate Fighter. They gave you Mr. Robert Valentin. Overall, you watched the performance. You got the job done. I mean, you were able to pick him up. You were able to get him on the ground. Third round, little dicey in there. A lot of feedback after the fight, some feedback from the commentators, maybe some criticism. After now spending 3 to 4 weeks to digest it, looking back at it, what do you make of the fight?
Yeah, I mean, obviously stepping out of the cage in that instance, I was like, God, that's not how I wanted to go. But then obviously listening to the critics, listen to people, after I got done doing my interview, people saying, oh, you shouldn't get on social media. Oh, people saying this, people saying that. And then I had to think about it. And then I went back and rewatched it for myself, blind eye. And I'm like, this fight wasn't that bad in terms of like what I was doing. Now, yes, I can open up a lot more, but the first and second round was me. I did some good things. There were some things I made a lot of mistakes on that got away from the game plan. There's a lot of game planning in terms of how I grapple and what I do, which allows me to open up to ground and pound or subs. And I made a lot of mistakes in there, which made the fight look the way it looked. Now, along with the part of him stalling me out, in terms of him holding me on, like I'm trying to take him down. Like I'm not holding guys on the cage to just hold him there. And then also like the crotch lock defense, a lot of things like that nature. But I just made a lot of mistakes up to that point. And now, we've got those mistakes corrected. And yeah, like for a pro debut, yes, I know it's in the record books as a split decision, but that's not a split decision fight. That's a 29-28. Full-on unanimous decision type of fight. No other person can tell me otherwise. I definitely think Tony Weeks made a huge mistake in terms of scoring. But besides that, yeah, I definitely am not impressed with the performance. I'm not happy with it, but I am content with it. It's one of those things where, okay, I went out there, I dominated the first and second round, wasn't even close. Third round, things did get a little shaky, but I still handle business, and yeah, we're on to the next.
Judging always something that's always, in the headlines, just happens. Sometimes we get those calls like, what are you looking at? A lot of criticism there. This was one of them. I think it was unanimous. If you read on Twitter that night, if you looked on Facebook, if you looked on Instagram, that 30-27 came out of left field. And I don't think anybody who's a fight fan really understood it. When you heard 30-27 Valentin, what was going through your head?
The funniest one, there was a meme. Somebody said it was the Teddy Long when he was at the wedding, the WWE part when Teddy Long was at the wedding and he fell over like he was having a heart attack. They said Torrez Finney when he heard 30-27. And I'm not gonna lie to you, that's exactly what my heart did. My heart just dropped. Bro, I was like, I don't soul this. I was like, what? Because when like I said, whenever time I hear the judges' names get called individually, that means it's a split decision. So when I heard 30-20, Tony Weeks scored it 30-27, I'm thinking, time slows down when you're in there, man. And I'm like, oh, I won that. Okay, 30-27, I won every round. I don't know, probably they gave me the third. When I heard Valentin, I said, what? Dude, I was so shocked. Like, I couldn't even believe it. I literally I literally couldn't even fathom, because that first round was so dominant to the point like there's no way you can give it. You can't even make a case for him. Like, what are we doing? And yeah, so to say I lost every round was that's crazy. Then I heard the 29-28 and then another 29-28. And I was like, I didn't know how any of the judges saw those other two rounds. And so I was like, I'm this is getting close. But yeah, the other two judges, 29-28 in Torres's favor, my favor. Yeah. But that's crazy. I'm sorry. That's crazy. I'm still shocked. That's probably one of the worst scorecards I ever heard of. Like, I've heard some crazy ones. Like, who was it? It was Corey Sandhagen and somebody else. No, it was Cheeto Vera. Was it Cheeto Vera? I think it was Cheeto Vera and Corey Sandhagen. Maybe some Marlon Vera. Yeah. They fought, and it was easily Corey Sandhagen. Everybody was, oh, Corey Sandhagen won. And one judge had it like 50-45 the other way or 49-46 the other way. And I'm like, what is it? What are we watching now? What is going on? It does get crazy. It gets crazy sometimes. So I had my first experience with foolishness. I've never had problems with a scorecard. It's always just been straight up in my few decisions. So, that was my third one. And I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be just like the other ones. I've had 30-27 against Caleb Crump, all three scorecards, and I had the 29-28s against Cam. But then this one, boy, you talking about too close to comfort.
That first round, you were very dominant. You're able to pick him up. You're able to slam him. You're able to show him that you have some of the best wrestling in MMA right now. One thing that really surprised me, I thought he was going to come out very aggressive from the belt. I thought he was going to really rush you and kind of come out like a bat out of hell. Were you surprised that he didn't do that?
Yes, but I think people take that notion of waiting, trying to catch me coming in, which I just don't think is a really smart game plan overall. But they try and they think, oh, I'm gonna catch Finney coming in. He's gonna eventually shoot. But that allows me to set other things up, again, as I continue to evolve my game and continue to grow into it. That waiting is gonna get you hurt. And guys waiting, getting right back instantly on the cage, not coming out, meeting me in the middle. It's one of those things where it's just continues to play in my favor. And, I'm never going to be mad at it. I'm never going to be like, oh, my gosh, he backed off. Like, no, I'm just going to continue to keep doing what I do. And whether you come out hard or whether you don't come out hard, like, I'm prepared. We've prepared this whole camp just in case he did come out hard. So, obviously, I was ready for it if he did, and then I always was ready for it if he didn't, because that's how majority of guys do it anyway.
In that third round, the commentators started, giving some criticism of their own, a little bit on your performance. At what point, when did you start realizing that, they were chirping a little bit?
So obviously I didn't hear them obviously while I was in the cage, but when I went back and watched it, at first they were giving my praises, and then turning to that third round when they were about to see, it's like, oh, it is a remake of the first and second round. All right, you gotta do this, you gotta do. And then look, I'm not mad at them because they're not wrong in some of those cases, but then again, in some of those cases, they know how that feels, and they know how grueling that is. These guys have fought before. Yes, they're former world champions, so I'm never going to ever disrespect them or call them out on anything. But yeah, I just think that there's more to it that they obviously know, and they just chose to speak to the casual fans, I believe.
A lot of guys who have a similar style to you, you have the Khabibs of the world, the Bilal Muhammad of the world. Those guys, they get great fighters. They go out there, they dominate, they win. That wrestling style, it doesn't appeal to the casual fans. A lot of people get frustrated with it. They think it's boring. I don't think they understand the whole skill and what it's like to literally immobilize someone to the point where they can't get up and you're holding them there. Mm-hmm. When you're looking on Instagram, when you're looking on seeing all these comments come up now, how are you taking that?
Oh, I'll take it well. I love it. Heck, it's funny. Like it's hard for me to even respond on anybody's post. I respond on people's posts. I'm always getting flack for myself. Oh, you need to do this. Oh, you need to do that. I'm like, I don't care what anybody else thinks. Like, for one, I don't know you. Two, you're not in my camp. You're not on my team. So what you say has no effects on me. Plus, I have an opportunity to go with some of the best guys in the world. I have an opportunity to talk with some of the best guys in the world. I listen more to their opinions than somebody who's sitting on the couch watching. Oh, I've been watching UFC since 1995. Well, congratulations. Like, okay. Like, congrats. Like, I know a lot of people that's been watching the NFL since the 60s, and they've never played a down in the league. So don't sit here and like claim that you know more based off what you see that the promotion allows you to see. Anybody that fights MMA understands how hard it is to grapple in fights. So it's a part of it. And, you know, I'm never going to be mad at, and I use this all the time. When a striker comes over and does MMA, he goes in, he knocks out the guy. Oh my gosh, he's ready, he's prepared. But he has no grappling. How do we know he's prepared to be a full MMA fighter? But when you have a guy that's a grapple heavy guy and you don't see as much of his striking, he's not ready. He's not it. He's not. Why are we flipping the side? Reason why, because obviously the striking is more appealing to the fans, which is understandable. But in terms of the sport of MMA, which one wins? You can argue me with all you want, but I know which one wins, and I know which one is going to have a lot of success, especially for my career. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If you got a problem with it, come beat me. You know, it's easy to sign the dotted lines. It's funny with me. There's a lot of fighters that always get guys running, asking promoters, give me this guy, give me that, give me that guy. But it's never for me. And there's a reason why. You know you have to deal with hell when you're in the cage with me. So it's a part of it. So and that's why bless me. I don't get mad at it. I can't get mad when I have the advantage. You know, the moment that y'all think, that's why I work hard. The moment that when everybody thinks that they want to see me lose, that helps me because that makes me work really hard. Because the moment every single time I go out there and get my hand raised and I have to hear, I'm sick of him. He ain't that good. He's a joke. Dana was right. It's funny. Y'all, I keep seeing all this. Dana was right. Dana was right. Dana was right. Okay, if Dana was right, then I would have lost my fight. If Dana was right, I would be 1-0, currently 11-0 in the UFC, an undefeated fighter. But again, the fans like to talk. I love it.
You know, every time that we get together, we talk a little bit about professional wrestling, both huge WWE fans. And, you know, I like to tie wrestling into your career a little bit. You know, when you're battling out in the Contender Series, you're trying to get there. Your career at that time was very symbolic to a Cody Rhodes. You were trying to finish your story of ending that chapter again in the UFC. So now I have a new, I guess, storyline part of the WWE history that you're currently going through. You are this guy. You were one of the most likable, friendly human beings on the planet. If everyone talks to you, not one person's going to say you're not a nice guy. You are the typical baby face, good guy that you would want in mixed martial arts. However, I feel like what you're experiencing right now is very similar to what John Cena as well as Roman Reigns felt. They were these guys. They're getting booed. They're the super likable guys. They should be the faces. You feel like that? Are you kind of relating to them right now?
I am, because again, the fans, they pick and choose what they want. 1 minute, oh my gosh, this is the guy. I'm always behind him. And then let that fighter lose. And then they all throw him in the trash. Well, he ain't that good. Dude, I've seen this with guys like Payne Talbot. I told you he was a fraud when Joe Pfeiffer lost. I told you he was a fraud. Look at who those guys fought. Like, can we not? And now it's funny because everybody always claim, well, we don't want MMA to be like boxing. Well, you claim you don't want MMA to be like boxing, and yet when somebody lose, well, they're not good enough to be champion. They're not good enough. They're not ever going to have a good career anymore. They suck. Wait a minute. Isn't this what we don't want with boxing? We don't want all these random undefeated guys not being here. Like, hey, everybody got a belt. Everybody's undefeated. Nobody wants to fight each other. I think that's currently the problem right now. There's a lot of guys at the top that don't want to fight each other. We're getting similar to boxing, in which majority of the fans did not want to be like. But yet, when y'all talk the way that y'all talk to all these other MMA guys, y'all make these MMA guys think. Now, I don't have the mentality because I don't listen to what any of these jokers say. I'm going to do me. I'm always going to do me. But I see these MMA fans constantly getting on these fighters. And look, these fighters, a lot of these guys didn't grow up in other sports. Okay, some of these guys just came straight into fighting. They didn't grow up. Some of these guys didn't grow up in playing football or basketball or soccer or like some wrestled, obviously. But wrestling, you don't have that many critics like that compared to football and basketball or baseball, whatever. So you didn't grow up with all this criticism. I did. I had it in other sports. I know exactly what it's like. These guys doesn't. So it gets on their mental a little bit. For me, this don't even come close getting on my mental because who cares what y'all got to say? I'm out here the one that's getting in the cage and doing the dirty work. I'm the one that's got to get out here and get punched with a 4-ounce glove. What do y'all got to do? Y'all sit here and watch for your amusement while you drink beer and eat popcorn. Like, I don't care about none of that stuff. So that's the reason why I go out here and always and will always just be me. To the end, point blank, period. Go out here, handle business, get your hand raised, get your 2 checks. Every single time I step into the cage, that's what you're going to see from the Punisher, Torrez, Finney. And ain't not much going to be behind it. That's all there is to it.
You know, to continue with the WWE theme here, back to my point about Roman Reigns, you know, originally a guy who was the super likable guy, absolutely getting hated on, getting booed on. Well, then what do we see? We see him turn. We see him become the heel. We see him become the tribal chief. And all of a sudden, he starts getting this gratitude. Right now, I think we're seeing this with you. You're embracing this. You're playing that heel. You're that MMA villain right now. How much fun are you having with this?
I'm loving it because this is the point I'm at also. If you want to keep giving me all the up-and-coming, exciting guys, if you want to give me the guys that everybody... Robert Valentin was a star on The Ultimate Fighter because of his personality, because of his style. They loved him. They loved him. And then you gave him to me. Yuri Panfarov, they loved him. The polar bear, the next big thing. And then you gave him to me. Again, do not give these guys to me because we know what's going to happen. And in my point that I'm going to always do, I'm going to find a way to get the win. So if you don't want to so-called see these guys get derailed, that these people talk about, or some of these other guys they claim that gets derailed, I don't believe in the fraud or the derailing. I don't believe in that. I'm just going to be straight up honest. I never will believe in that because you get challenged when you deal with adversity. That's when you see where the real fighter is. If I see a guy like Peyton Talbot, he lost and he comes back and he goes on a winning streak and grows from it, he dealt with adversity. Diego Lopez, he lost his first fight to Mosgar Evloev. Fought for the title, went on a 5-fight win streak, fought for the title. Perfect example. Alexander Volkanovski knocked out cold back-to-back. Look what he just did. Charles Oliveira. Dude, that's when you get your best guys. I felt like Conor McGregor, when he lost to Nate Diaz the first time, he came back and beat Nate and had the best performance you'll ever see in a championship fight against Eddie Alvarez. Bro, you see that Islam Makhachev got knocked out. Look what he did by Adriano Martins. Turns around, wins the title, goes on a long winning streak. Bilal Muhammad, he gets knocked out by Vicente Luque. Turns around, goes on a long winning streak, wins the title. Bro, it's a part of what you do to grow. And I felt like I've had my adverse times, and I feel like this is one of those times for me. There's no such thing as derailed. There's no such thing as fraud. There's no such thing as didn't live up to the hype. It's a part of the journey. It's a part of what makes you who you are. And that's how you grow as a fighter. And until these guys learn that, until these fans understand that, it's a part of their path. So don't hold a fight that has happened years ago, their last fight. Because if they're the same fighter they were their last fight, you have your case in point. But if they're a different fighter as they continue to go out there, that's different. And no, that's why I don't believe in the defrauding, the derailing, he didn't live up to the hype. No, I don't believe in none of that.
This is a very unique situation because, a lot of things that you were just mentioning, trying to get better, improving yourself, doing examples of guys that have lost and you're able to come back stronger. You're undefeated. You have not lost in mixed martial arts. And I feel like kind of this narrative, like that's getting overlooked. While you say that wasn't your best performance. Obviously, you want to do more on the ground. You want to be a little more active in the future, whatever. They can say whatever you want. At the end of the day, man, you're still an undefeated top prospect who is 1-0 in the UFC, won their debut. And that's something not everyone can say that they have done. In this, do you still focus? I mean, do you feel like this is getting lost in translation here? I mean, is part of it at the end of the day realize, maybe I could do better next time. Maybe there's things I got to work on. But I'm still undefeated.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's like personally, like in my own eyes, yeah, because I understand, and just like these other fighters that talk to me, we talk other coaches that talk to me, they give me a lot of props. It's like, look, man, it is hard to win multiple pro MMA fights, let alone not catch a loss. You've won 11 straight. You fought 3 times on the Contender Series. You fought in the UFC. You got to win. Heck, and I was blessed to go undefeated as an amateur. He's like, that's not common. That just doesn't happen. Like, you are going through some things that a lot of people would love to go through, because this isn't easy. And I can tell you that from firsthand. Winning fights ain't easy. And that's another part of why I feel like my performance was the way it was. I'm not going to say I underestimated Valentin. I'm never going to underestimate anybody. But going into that fight, I didn't have the nerves that I usually have. And that probably came from the fact of me watching film and expecting one thing and seeing another in there. I didn't think Valentin did some things that I didn't expect him to do. And he just showcased that he got better in areas. And because of that, I'll be honest with you, going into the cage, like most of the time when I make that walk on, my stomach turns over. Like when I go to the middle and I close my eyes and open up my arms, that's me calming myself down. And me going into there, like really trying to calm myself down, there was nothing to calm, because my nerves didn't get amped. I didn't get amped up like I truly wanted to. I get amped up, but that's why I start so fast. And I started fast for that one. I mean, I got going, but like I start so fast because I'm so amped up. I got to get my hands on you. Like I got to go. I got to go. And I couldn't do that for him for some reason. And that was the first time ever in my career that I've ever felt like that. So, and in my case, I feel like that was my so-called off night. So on my off night, you still can beat me. And that's where, like, I understand that I'm growing more as a fighter. We want to always have our peaks. We want to peak. And I think this time I maybe peaked too early through training camp. I maybe overtrained a little bit. That was some of the things that came up along with this one, because I had a few injuries that happened coming into the fight. Just never spoke of it. But again, that has nothing to do with like me. I'm still going to go out there and handle business. I'm still going to go out there and do everything I can to get the win. So I'm learning more as a fighter, growing more as a fighter. Again, like you said, I've only been a pro for 3 years. I've only been fighting for 4 years. So I'm learning, y'all. I'm learning, and I'm going to get better. Just give me time.
Speaking of UFC debuts, I mean, something pretty special happened this weekend. A friend of both of ours was able to make his UFC debut. Yes. Malcolm Wellmaker goes out there, emphatic first-round knockout, picks up a big bonus, able to quit his job as a welder today. And, it looks like a star was born this weekend, because the future is very bright for him. Obviously you're so close with him, either growing up in Georgia together, fighting on the same regional card, seeing each other at fights, staying in touch well before both of you guys were in the UFC. Was that pretty cool, to be able to watch someone live out their dream like that? Was it cool?
Dude, I was at a cookout here in Atlanta, and I pulled it up on my phone. They said, oh, the fight's on tonight? I was like, I don't have to watch any other fights. I'm watching a fight for one man. That's my boy, Malcolm Wellmaker. Now, I did watch it for Timmy Kuwamba. He's also my boy from Vegas, because I trained up a little bit with Dewey. So I did get a chance to watch his. I saw he knocked the guy in the first round, so it was like, wasn't much. Like I didn't get to his in time, but I was able to see the highlights. So I made sure I was able to tune in for that at least. And then I said, I got to watch Malcolm's. And I'm over here on the edge of my seat. And, bro, when he threw that hook, that right hook, Lord have mercy. Dude, I knocked almost all the drinks over. That was right there in front of the table. I jumped up, bro. I was so pumped. Oh, my goodness, dude. Bro, like, it's like when I watch my teammate Trevor Peek fight. I just get so amped up for them, man. And that's what it is like when I watch Malcolm fight. I get so amped up for him because it's almost as if I'm in there wanting them to succeed for them. Like, I want to see him win, bro. It is beautiful to see a guy of that caliber, to see how he comes up. I saw my pro debut. He was literally turning pro. His last ever amateur fight was on my pro debut in Macon. We fought on both of those icon cards together. We've always stayed in touch. We have a lot of close connections from Moon and all those boys. And he knows Quincy. Quincy's been training with him for the longest. And I know Quincy since he was in high school. We both was against rival schools wrestling-wise when we was in high school. So it's just so awesome to see a guy of that caliber live out his dream. Not only to get that because he not because he did it, but he called it and then did it. He called it, got the knockout, won the 50. He literally was saying that all week leading up. If I get this 50K, he said, no. When I get this 50K, I'm quitting my job. I've already let those guys know. Went out there, spoke into existence, went out there, handled business, and did exactly that. You cannot write a better story. I am so happy for him. And yes, I hope and pray that he gets on that Atlanta card, because if he does, that shoots him up to the moon. I'm telling you, it shoots him up to the moon. He's special. Special.
All right, so now I want to have a little bit of fun here. New thing that I'm starting to do. We're going to play a game of true or false based off of your career, and you can either debunk some stuff or tell us it's true. First one, true or false? You had to wear a weight belt in order to make weight.
That's very true. That is actually very true. My second pro fight, I was only weighing 216. And in Tennessee, you have to weigh 225 or above because they have a cruiserweight division for MMA. So I didn't know that. So I had to put on a weight vest to go in and weigh in. That's the reason why I weighed in at 228, while my opponent had to cut weight to get to 265. So yes, I did that.
True or false? Your first MMA fight ever was the same day as a football scrimmage, and you snuck out and didn't tell anyone you were doing it.
Yes, that is very true. Coach made us run 100-yard sprints. Right after practice, I played 60 plays in that scrimmage, and I was so tired. I was done. And after that, all my guys was like, man, Finney, just, tell coach. I was like, nah, I ain't gonna say nothing. And they just let me go. And I left, snuck out of the back of the door and got in there with my coach, Coach Matt. He drove me all the way up to Knoxville. Went to Knoxville, and I slept on the sofa in the back locker room all the way up to like 3 fights before mine. And I was like, whoo, I got to warm up. Here we go. And I warmed up, and I said, man, I got to get this guy out of here quick. Oh, my gosh. But I was blessed to go out there and get an 11-second knockout. So,
true or false? You are the son of the world's strongest man, Mark Henry.
No, that is false. But I do know Mark Henry's son is into, I think he had a football scholarship, I believe, football, and he's also thinking about doing some pro wrestling. So yeah, maybe not MMA, but we could meet one day. Wink.
Last one here, true or false? A janitor has stolen your phone.
Bro, very true. So true to it don't even make sense. I have the most viral knockout of my career. And then this happens. I'm looking for my phone, and I'm like, why can I not find my phone? And everyone's like, it must be dead. I'm like, it's not dead. It's almost like a ritual for myself. I charge my phone all the way to 100%, and I put it on Do Not Disturb, and I bring it with me to the fights all the time, put it in my bag. I call my granddad, I call my mom, I call my dad, I call my granddad. Boom. After I call them, that's it. No more talking on the phone. It goes in my bag. Then I'm like, it's not dead. I guarantee you it's not dead. There's no way. I said, it can't be that many people hitting my phone for it to die like that. Like, it makes no sense. So, like, it's not dead. So, yeah. Yeah. So, we had to deal with that. Trevor was ready to kill him. Some of my other friends were ready to kill him, Luke. But we was able to retrieve the phone 2 hours later. It was like we didn't have nothing to eat. It was like 12 o'clock before we were able to get the phone. So
Last week, big weekend for professional wrestling fans, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, rather. WrestleMania, something that you've been discussing, wanting to go to forever. You did it this year. You
I
went
did.
to WrestleMania both nights. What was that experience like, man?
That experience was epic, Carlo. Bro, it was epic. Dude, to experience that firsthand, the crowd, the people, dude, oh my gosh, bro, it makes you want to be in there. Dude, the energy, dude. Oh, I'm getting like goosebumps thinking about it. Like when The Rock does, look, I can understand why. You get goosebumps in there, man. Like, that's one of the most entertaining, like the crowd, bro. The crowd just making this when Jay Uso walked out, the entire crowd yeeting. Seth Rollins walks out. Everybody singing that song, bro. One of the best moments. Randy Orton walks out and everybody sings his song. Dude, that's so freaking lit, dude. Cena walks out. John Cena sucks, or let's go Cena sucks. That back and forth, singing Cody Rhodes. I mean, I can go on. When Johnny Hendry walked out, shocked the whole fan. Like, I can go on and on, bro. It was one of those experiences. Like, I went to WrestleMania in 2011 when it was in Atlanta, Georgia, and now to be able to go to, obviously now, to this WrestleMania on my own dime. I was able to do whatever I wanted on this one. So that was really cool. In Vegas, 2 weeks after I fought, I said, I'm going to win my fight. I'm going to WrestleMania. That was we're going to Disney. After my fight, I'm going to WrestleMania. So, and I went, I enjoyed it, man. One of the best experiences I've had in a really long time.
So you mentioned you were at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned Jey Uso.
Mm-hmm.
Were you yeeting when he came out?
Absolutely. I got video of me eating. Look, I was eating like a kid, bro. Like the eating, let's go Cena sucks. Singing Seth Rollins song, bro. Just to experience that. I think everybody should do that. Like, you might not have to be the biggest wrestling fan, but we all have that one that we know of. We know of John Cena. We know of Randy Orton. Just get in the building and just see it. You'll see. See, people get so surprised that over 65,000 people are into wrestling. All in there. They said, I did not know that many people are all into wrestling. I said, yes, that many people watch wrestling. And they think, was it kids? I said, no. I love when I hear like, oh, is it kids? No. It's kids there, don't get me wrong. But it's like a 70-30, like in terms of percentage. 70 adult, 30% kids. So it ain't as many kids as you would think. It's a lot of adults there. It's crazy, man. It's crazy.
It's awesome. Now going forward, before we wrap things up here, obviously you were just in action 3 weeks ago. I'd be remiss if I don't ask you this. There's big cards coming up. Obviously, you have UFC Atlanta coming up. You're from that Macon area. You have UFC Nashville coming up. You have some ties over up in Tennessee. Are we maybe hoping one of these work out for us?
Yes. UFC, please get me on UFC Atlanta. I'm wanting it. One, it would give an opportunity for me to fight on it. Two, just to give to see like a lot of my family to, they ain't never, my family, where I'm from, not a people into UFC. But the fact that I'm on the card, so many people would come out. When I fought in Macon, a lot of people came out, and there's a lot of people that didn't watch UFC. Now I got a lot of people that watch. Now it's funny. Now that I'm in the UFC, now everybody watches UFC, and now everybody think they know about the UFC. So it's pros and cons to that. So it's not just it's good all one way. Now everybody think they know everything about the business now. But yes, if I fought in UFC Atlanta, my whole family would come. A lot of people that probably have never, they have never ever in their life been to a UFC event. They would go because I'm on the card, and vice versa for UFC Nashville. It would be one of those things. And I think, just go back and look at my track record. You ain't never seen a boring fight of me in a crowd. You ain't never seen me lay and pray in a crowd. Like, hey, look, there's something to it when people are screaming. So get me out of that apex, and you probably see a better performance from Torrez Finney as well. Hard to fight when you're in there fighting in a freaking room, like get me in the ring, get me in the arena, and we'll see, No reason not to try to experiment it. People already hate me. I would love to hear 15 to 20,000 people booing. That's when you know you're over. That is when now I'm gonna have my people that cheer. Now, especially if I fight in UFC Atlanta, don't get me wrong, it's gonna be a lot of cheering. UFC Nashville, a lot of cheering. But it could be that mix of people that just get in there. Boo, bro, bring it on. Dude, I would love it, bro. People don't understand, like, that would energize me. That would make me fight even harder. Like, boo me, cheer me. Regardless, you have to watch me. So I like it either way. Yes, either UFC Atlanta or UFC Nashville.
One thing I think is so crazy about the regional scene, and it's different from any other sport at a minor league or a lower level. In addition to fighting, regional fighters also sell tickets for promotions, whether and then they have to actually coordinate it. You're the fighter, but you're also like the pickup guy. Hey, man, here are your tickets. Here are 2 tickets for you, 3 tickets for you. You have to coordinate orders. Do you miss that? Do you miss selling tickets?
No, I do not. No, I do not. Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I don't miss that in the slightest. Look, I am so happy that I don't even have to worry about it. Now, I do hate the fact that, like, people ask me, like, oh, where are they get these tickets? And I'll send them a link, and they're like, oh, $2,000 a ticket at Apex? Yeah, you go. Like, I would like to go to an arena card to allow somebody to be able to get a ticket so they can actually get a chance to go, and see me in action. So that's one of those things. So, but besides that, yeah, no, I am definitely not. Do not miss that part at all. Do not miss that part at all.
All right, Torrez, last question for you, my friend. So we're still relatively halfway through the year. We got about 8 more months left of this year. In a perfect world, what goes down, man? What do we take from here?
Perfect world, I do find a way to go to UFC Atlanta or UFC Nashville, which is in July. So June or July, obviously one of those cards. Then take a good little bit of break, turn around and get on October, like I've done throughout my entire career. My third time, right after the third fight, get on the talks of renegotiating because I'll be 3-0 within the UFC. And yeah, that's the perfect world for me. And yeah, all of that stuff is very much attainable. You just got to go in and put the next foot in front of the other. So yeah, we're just working to get better right now. Focus on myself, focus on growing, focus on becoming a better fighter. And yeah, we just see where the chips lay.
Absolutely. Well, hey, man, thank you again for your time. Absolutely an honor talking to you. It's absolutely amazing. 3 years ago, we were talking about fighting on Icon and fighting on the regional scene. Now you're in the UFC. Now you're becoming a name. Now you're a guy that people love or love to hate, whatever. They're watching you. It's amazing to be on this journey with you, my friend.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And hey, it wouldn't be a Torrez Finney interview if we don't do this. I'm Carl Prusa. That's Torrez Finney. Torrez, please end it, my friend.
Can you smell what Torrez is cooking?
Take care, fight fans.